Hi everyone, especially to our beautiful professor in this subject, Miss Patricia Andy Asis, and to my classmates, welcome to our presentation. I am Jonna Marie Onato and my group mates are Argusino John Carl, Escleto Maria Bernadine, Luna Angelo Carl, Magpantay Mayrin, and Oropesa Prince Algetro. Example SAC. Compare and contrast the views of Descartes and Locke with regard to innate ideas. Which is the more defensible account? Give reasons for your answer. This question is in some way more difficult than those we have previously considered. It demands specific knowledge of the theories of two philosophers, and so cannot be answered simply by thinking about the issues in questions, unlike, for example, our earlier discussion of euthanasia. So, ang task dito or topic is to compare and contrast the views of Descartes and Locke regarding sa innate ideas. Pero dahil wala pa tayong basic knowledge or enough knowledge about dun sa innate ideas, we can't be able to compose essay kasi wala pa tayong alam tungkol doon. Hindi siya katulad ng issue or topic na na-discuss natin about euthanasia, which is previously discussed by the other groups. Dahil napag-aralan na natin siya or narinig na natin siya, meron tayong specific knowledge, and by that, we can be able to compose an essay about that. Makakapag-compare and contrast na tayo about doon. And next, a little trivia and example of essay. What is euthanasia? Euthanasia is a painless killing of a patient suffering from an incurable and painless disease. It is similar in mercy killing. Napanood ko na sa ibang groups na na-discuss na nila ito, but gusto ko pa rin magbigay ng sariling opinion or some trivia about euthanasia. Kasi narinig ko na to, marami akong kwentong narinig about dito, and it is illegal most of the country, but ginagawa nila ito para sa mga nagsasuffer na patient na gusto ng magpahinga. And bukal naman sa loob ng family yon ng patient or ng mismong patient na. So, yun yung euthanasia. What is innate ideas? Innate ideas, how can we be sure that what we believe is true? Excuse me po. Philosophers of the 17th century were particularly concerned with this question, seeking to move beyond unquestioning trust in the education provided by the church of the time to provide an independently secure foundation for human knowledge. Descartes in particular grappled with skeptical doubts that nothing could be known for certain. Innate ideas were investigated as a possible solution to this problem. If there are some foundational truths that we know innately, that are contained within us in some way when we are born, then perhaps this could provide the required secure basis upon which we can ground the rest of our knowledge of the world. So, ang question dito is, or the topic here is, how can we be sure that what we believe is true? And that is the concern of the philosopher Descartes. And nag-come up siya dito sa innate ideas na tayong mga tao, when we are born, sa pagkasilang sa atin, naniniwala siya na meron na tayong contained knowledge within us na kung saan itong na yon, yung contained knowledge na yon, yun yung mga natural knowledge natin. And unlike naman kay John Locke, naniniwala siya na ang tao, when we are born, we are like blank paper, as in wala tayong knowledge. And yung makukuha nating knowledge is based on experience, like mabibuild yung ating knowledge through experiences. So magkaiba sila ng paniniwala. So yung paniniwala ni Descartes, ito yung innate ideas were investigated as a possible solution to this problem, yung problem na how can we be sure that what we believe is true. Like for example, dun sa paniniwala ni Descartes. So, like for example, yung mga bata na kahit hindi natin turuan sila, but once they face like a problem, mayroon silang ma-encounter na problem, And kahit hindi mo sila turuan, nagagawa nila. So, minsan nakakapagtaka din na, paano nila nagawa yun kung wala naman tayong tinuturo sa kanila? Like, their instinct. Siguro yun yung gustong iparating ni Descartes na ang tao ay meron ng natural knowledge and nai-improve na lang yun kapag na-face mo na yung, or na-encounter mo na yung situation or problem. Yan.
Compare and contrast the views of Descartes and Locke with regard to innate ideas. This gives us a clear focus for our essay. Innate ideas. Innate ideas are concepts that are provided to our minds at birth. Both Descartes and Locke we have opposing viewpoints on this matter. According to Descartes, innate ideas exist since we humans have some sort of identity, substance, and God in us. Because we are born most of the time on the facts stored in our thoughts. In his beliefs, Descartes tell us the perception, thinking, doubting, believing, reasoning, knowing, and willing are all examples of mind operations. On the other hand, Locke believes that there are no such things as innate ideas. Human beings, according to Locke, are born with empty minds and not meant to know everything, but rather to be equipped with just enough critical information to keep us out of inconvenience. He contradicted the theory of innate ideas because he believes the human ideas came from our sensation and experience, and as I believe, as we grow, learning ideas is the process of acquiring knowledge. Thank you po.
It is important to get this right. If we misunderstand innate ideas, then our entire discussion will be misguided. So we will note this down for now and come back to it at later to check whether we need to refine our definition. This understanding of innate ideas can now help us to shape the rest of our essay. We need to look for Descartes and Locke views on whether our ideas are a result of experience or whether they are already in our mind independently of any experience. So, dito sa topic na to, o dito sa innate ideas, kailangan nating maging maingat at kailangan nating maintindihan ng mabuti para hindi ma-misguided or hindi tayo mapalihis dun sa ating dapat na malaman. So, yung kasunod na slide nito, dito natin malalaman or there are some tips or notes that needs to be note down para malaman natin yung kailangan nating malaman about these innate ideas by Descartes and Locke. You may find it helpful to summarize and organize your information as you go along. For instance, in preparing this essay, it may be useful to note down the key ideas of two thinkers in adjacent columns in order to aid our comparison. So, our permanent notes for this essay might look something like this. So, enable to make an essay para magkaroon ng comparison yung innate ideas ni Descartes and Locke. Kailangan natin or malaking tulong itong magiging key ideas na ipapakita ko sa inyo. Ito yon, notes for essay. Essay title, Compare and Contrast the Views of Descartes and Locke with regard to innate ideas. Innate ideas, inborn, not product of experience. Ito yung kay Descartes. Para kay Descartes, ideas from experience not always reliable. So, yun yung method of doubt. Can't reliably distinguish dreams and waking. So, can tell if there is reality of this thing from our dreaming of it. Innate ideas needed knowledge to underpin knowledge. Example, cogito, I think before I am, God, mathematical principles. So, ayoko masyadong i-tackle to kasi gusto kong pagbigyan yung groupmates ko kasi itatakal din nila to mamaya. So, ito yung notes for essay para kay Descartes. So, madidiscuss yun ng mga groupmates ko mamaya. Then, pagdating naman kay Locke, reject this Descartes account, no innate ideas. So, nireject niya yung account ni Descartes. His encounter arguments, innate ideas, example God, math, logic, morals, not held by everyone. What about infants, learning disabled? Other societies have different ethical rules. And the unconscious knowledge of innate ideas rejected as near a contradiction. So, yun yung kay Locke. So, magkaiba talaga sila. Next is kay Locke ulit. So, mind is a blank state. All our ideas are developed from experience of the outside world or of our minds. Although we have innate capacities to acquire ideas. So, kung kay katulad nga ng sinabi ko kanina, kung kay Descartes, naniniwala siya na when we are born, meron na tayong contained knowledge sa atin. Ito namang si Locke, naniniwala siya na para talagang blank paper ang ating mind na mabibuild na lang yung knowledge natin through experience. So, mali-discuss ng mga groupmates ko later.
Compare and contrast the view of Descartes and Locke with regard to Innate's idea, which is more defensible account. Essay outline. Intro, define innate ideas inborn, not product of experience. Summarize D and L. D defends innate idea, L reject them. Summarize which I think is the best and why. Have we reached a conclusion here yet? The strength of the account is to follow the practical thinking or learn through expression, while in L account is to follow systematic way of thinking. Meanwhile, the weakness of the account is the might be contrast with the problem, while in L might be contrast with one expression. Describe Descartes' account. Innate idea are found for knowledge. Para kay René Descartes, ang natural knowledge ay magiging foundation through other knowledge. Kasi hindi naman natin magagawa ang isang bagay ng tama kung wala tayong knowledge. Next is, this is because idea from experience are untrustworthy. Method of doubt. Sinasabi niya na ma-experience natin ay hindi mapagkakatiwalaan. Minsan, oo nga. Kasi may mga pagkakataon na kahit alam na natin, inuulit pa rin natin. Next is, most fundamental idea. I think before I am. Ito yung thinking na isipin mo muna bago mo gawin. Idea of God is also innate. So Descartes said, the innate of idea of God is said to represent God insofar as the idea objective reality has its origin in the former reality of God. Next, good guarantees through of clear and distinct. Descartes agree that clear and distinct perception is guarantor of the truth because God, who is not a deceiver, would not allow Descartes to be mistaken about that. Other innate ideas. Principle of maths. Describe Locke account. What are the similarities and depths CFs of Descartes innate? L reject Descartes account. So what are the similarities? Are there any depths? No innate ideas. This is because counterexample can provide for also called innate idea. Math, logic, infants, and learning disabled don't have ideas, gods. Moral rights, wrong different societies have different ideas about this. and Luke rejects suggestions that we can have innate. Unconsciously, mind is blank slate. We have innate capacities, reasons, but all ideas are built on experience. John Luke rejected Descartes' account because he believed that we have innate capacities, but all ideas are built on experience. Evaluate strengths and weaknesses of Descartes and Luke account. Conclusion. I therefore conclude that the both accounts are contrast with each because Descartes account requires own experience, while Luke account requires intelligent and systematic way of thinking.
If we consult our notes about this bigger question, malalaman natin na si Descartes at Locke ay parehas na concerned patungkol sa status of knowledge, kung alin ba talaga ang sa kanilang pinaniniwalaan at pinag-aaralan ang true knowledge. Dito parang pinagdedebatehan nila ang patungkol sa true knowledge. Sinasabi dito ni Descartes na ang true knowledge daw ay natural knowledge. Natural knowledge is that part of God's knowledge which He knows by His very nature or essence, and since His essence is necessary, so is that which is known through it. That is the content of natural knowledge, includes all metaphysically necessary truths. But some say natural knowledge belongs only to God, as God alone knows all there is to know. Dahil ang likas na kaalaman o natural knowledge ng mga tao ay ang kakayahang bumuo ng mga perceptions about one's surroundings. Ang sangkatauhan has a natural curiosity tungkol sa lahat ng nasa paligid nila, at ang pag-unawa sa nakapaligid na iyon ay nakukuha through educating that curiosity. There is also the natural knowledge sa mga bagay tulad ng paglalakad, pagsasalita at iba pa, which naturally involve as a baby develops and age. The morality you speak of is to live and let live, grow and let grow, learn and let learn. It would be immoral to put a child in a closet and deny him the natural evolution of learning to navigate his world, starting natural curiosity. At para naman kay Locke, all knowledge comes exclusively through experience. It is in the context of this common inquiry that both thinkers explore the concept of innate ideas to see whether and how this might contribute to knowledge. So we could argue that they share common. We also need to establish what we conclude from our arguments. Perhaps we are convinced by Locke's criticisms of Descartes and therefore wish to argue that his account against objections such as the one we have just raised, or at least to provide reason arguments for considering such objections to be less damning than those leveled against Descartes' account. Dito, para masagot natin ang mga katanungan, syempre, kailangan natin magbato ng mga defense and reason sa arguments. To compose and answer an essay, of course, we need knowledge and background about the topics being asked.
Next naman po tayo. Having thus completed the skeleton argument for our essay, we now need to put flesh on the bones by writing a complete draft of the assignment. As you write, you may find that some section required further clarification, or that working out the details of one section of the argument prompts you to change your understanding and those to revise another aspect of your account. So it is important to allow yourself plenty of time to complete this stage. As we noted earlier, through herein also lies the value of writing your own philosophy. Sometimes it is only when we try to express our ideas on the page that we become truly clear about an issue. Yun. Pinapakita po dyan is dapat po sa paggawa po ng isang essay or tulad po sa sa example na lang po natin sa research. Kailangan po is step by step ang paggagawa po, yung bawal po na may lalaktawan kang isa para mabilis matapos. Tapos po, syempre po, nagkaka-interested po tayo sa isang bagay or binabasa po natin, syempre pag naiintindihan po natin. Yun po. Sa next naman po is to demonstrate this, let us write in full the concluding paragraph of your essay. The annotation in the right-hand column indicates where challenge have become apparent at this stage. Sa lang po, sa pinapakita lang po na si Luke and Decrease ay may may magkaibang paniniwala. Siyempre po, yung paniniwala ko po, mahirap paniwalaan yung iba kasi iba yung paniniwala mo eh. Pero dun sa paniniwala po, hindi naman po natin nasasabi na may tama, may mali. Kasi po, yun po yung paniniwala nila. Decrete said that knowledge, independently of experience, such as one own extenses, God and logical and mathematical principle. Yun po yung paniniwala ni Decrete. Kay Luke naman po said, claim that the mind is a blank slate and that all of our ideas are derived from experience. Yun. Kay Luke po, depende po sa experience. Kaya po, kumbaga po ay natututo tayo sa experience na ginagawa po natin. Kay Decretes naman po ay nakadepende po sa existence, God, and logical and mathematical principle po. Yun po. Thank you po.